at some point the hustle has to end. When I was about 23 years old, my husband and I lived in a little area of Fort Worth, Texas, called Northside. And if y'all know anything about Fort Worth, you know that Northside is predominantly Hispanic. Now, having lived there for several years, I would surmise that probably about 1 in 3 people in our little area in Northside are probably there illegally. I mean, it's Texas, y'all. So anyways, he used to take his check, or I would take his check, depending on whether or not he was in town or not, down to this little check cashing place called Cambiamos Cheques. It's a place where you go if you don't have a bank or a very good ID, and they charge you a fee, and you cash your check. And of course, every Friday, there was a line of people from the neighborhood getting their check cashed. And one thing I noticed one day is that certain people would go and cash their check in the check cashing area, and then they'd move right down to the Western Union window where they would send money. Now, I didn't know what was going on because I was new to Texas, new to the world, new to check cashing, new to all of it. So I asked my girlfriend, hey, why do I see so many people in line at the Western Union? And she just said, oh, it's because they're sending money home. And I said, home? And she said, yeah, like back to Mexico. They're sending money home. Then she's proceeded to explain to me that it's mostly illegal immigrants that are here working under the table, taking their checks and getting them cashed, and then sending most of that money. They would keep maybe a couple $100 out of their check and send most of it back to their families in Mexico. Now, at the time,
I'm confused here. You were there at this check cashing place with a check, right? Your girlfriend was there with you, I'm assuming with a check, right? Did any of those Latinos that were in that line that you think are illegal immigrants, did they ask to see your check? See your check stub? Make sure you were paying taxes? No, they didn't. Because here's the thing, darling dear. If you're paid with a check, 9 times out of 10, there are taxes taken out on that. You see, the immigrants that you are talking about, whether they be legal or not, have ITIN numbers. That's so they can give money to the government and get nothing in return. And the government, the IRS, loves money. Okay, like they love money so much that if you don't send them the money that they are owed, they will imprison you. Like my father always said, there are 2 things that are in this life that are certain, 100%, and that is death and taxes. Okay? So you listen to your friend at the age of 23 years old that they were all illegals and that they were getting paid under the table. They were getting paid under the table, but the employer was so fucking stupid as to leave a paper trail. What the hell do you think a check is, lady? It's a paper trail. Why do you think they have a paper trail? So that the employers can pay employment tax. I guarantee you that most of those immigrants that were there, all of those immigrants that were there that was cashing a check, had taxes taken out. Then you're complaining that they're sending money back home to their family because their family's got to eat and live and deal. Yeah, you're bitching about that. Why ain't anybody bitching about the money that you're spending on your family? Oh, they'd keep a couple $100 from their check so they could live and pay taxes on everything that they buy in Texas. Their housing, they're paying taxes on that, whether they rent or whether they got a mortgage. They're paying property taxes on that. Food that they're buying, ow, just cracked my knuckle. Food that they're buying, guess what? In Texas, don't y'all have a tax on all of your food over there? Guess what? They're paying taxes. Clothing, they're paying taxes. Drinks, they're paying taxes. And they receive nothing. Illegal immigrants do not get anything, dear heart. The only time that they get anything is if they have kids. Because, see, we actually give a shit about kids having health care. So if they come over here with their kids, they get health care for their kid. Yeah, and that's it. They don't get any Social Security. If they happen to overpay in their taxes, they get money sent back to them if they can. If they can't, like if they have an ITIN number and there's nowhere to send the money to, well, then the government gets to keep that money. Yeah, and it just goes right into Social Security fund, into the general fund, into the places where it's supposed to be. Did you ever stop to think at the age of 23 that your 23-year-old girlfriend didn't know what the fuck she was talking about either? Dear God in heaven. Oh my God, they're taking their checks to this check cashing place where the employer is hiring illegal immigrants and is stupid enough to leave a fucking paper trail. I am tired of the grift. Why don't you get all up in the same arms that you're in right now over the employer hiring illegal immigrants? You didn't even think about that, did you? No, that never even crossed your mind, huh? Well, we punish the people who are hiring them. Maybe they'll stop hiring them, and they'll start hiring lily white people like you, right, ma'am? Listen, all those jobs in Texas are now open. You know, picking crops in the fields. Yeah. Meat packing places. Yeah. All of those jobs are now open. Might I suggest you get your lily white ass up off your porch, take your ass on down to the local farm or to the local meat packing place, put in an application. They need help. Dear God in heaven. Jeez.